If your marriage is facing challenges right now, or maybe you're going through a separation, chances are it was falling apart way before she emotionally checked out. And chances are even greater that you've been scrambling trying to figure out the next steps on what you can do to try to get her to want to work on the marriage. There's a lot of advice out there, but most of it steers men in the wrong direction because every single relationship dynamic is different and needs something different in order to get on the path of rebuilding it correctly. So maybe you'll hear that you have to be more of an emotional leader, but in your specific situation, you were already leading to the point where she didn't feel that she had an equal say and she didn't have a voice. So if you started becoming more of an emotional leader, you're actually pushing her further away and killing your chances at reconciliation. Or maybe you hear that you need to just create a safe space for her where she can feel comfortable coming to you where you're open. And maybe you've been doing that. Maybe she felt very safe communicating with you, but there was something else going on, and that's why the relationship ended. See, if you don't know the specific reasons as to why your situation went the path that it went, you're not going to be able to rebuild in the way that's correct for you. Every relationship is unique and different in its dynamic, and every relationship needs its own specific diagnosis so you can prevent divorce with a tailored treatment plan specialized for you rather than some generic advice out there that usually causes more harm than good. And what I found in coaching all of my students is that the reason relationships are falling apart is actually because the man's been unhappy and he's been burying it. They felt frustrated. They felt unappreciated. They felt they weren't getting enough affection, not enough intimacy, not enough peace, not enough connection, and not a lot of respect. But instead of looking at the relationship dynamic and how it was affecting them emotionally, they silently adapted. And over time, that silent unhappiness changed how they started showing up to her. Some of them became more critical, some became less patient, some started shutting down, some got really angry and defensive, some of them started being really resentful, some of them stopped being present in the relationship, some of them stopped noticing the little things she was doing. And of course, none of them did this intentionally. In fact, most men didn't even realize it was happening until one day she sits him down and she says, "I want to separate," or "I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore," or "I'm done with the relationship. I can't do this anymore." And then suddenly he starts to panic. And in his mind, he's thinking, well, the relationship wasn't that bad. Sure, he may not have been fully happy, but he was willing to live with it, to accept it, to deal with it, and to push through. In fact, a lot of men silently suffer through relationships and have no idea how that's changing them over time and how it's changing the relationship dynamic and the emotional experience that's now resulting in how she feels. Because when someone's feeling hurt repeatedly, it doesn't just go away. That's why during arguments, women will bring things up from years ago that seem to have no relevance to the current argument. It's because emotionally, it never left her. Instead, what happened is she put it in a drawer. So every disappointment, every unresolved hurt, every moment that she was feeling emotionally alone, every moment that she felt disconnected, it all got put in that drawer. Now, men don't just stack items in the drawer the same way a woman does. Instead, his emotional frustration comes out in different ways. It comes out in complaining. It comes out in being negative. It comes out in being frustrated or angry or defensive or shutting down. And then they move forward and they forget about it for a bit. But eventually, as they're acting like that, it results in her continually adding to her drawer. And eventually, the drawer gets to the point where she can't close it anymore. And then that's usually the moment where the husband's like, well, wait a minute, where is this coming from? But to her, it didn't come out of nowhere. She's been adding to that drawer for years. It's an emotional junk drawer. And what's really heartbreaking about this is most men only start to realize where they were unhappy and how it changed how they were showing up once they've already pushed her away. That's when they start to notice how cold they've become, how negative they've become, how resentful they've become, how emotionally unavailable they've become, how dismissive of her needs they've become. That's when they finally start realizing how much of their own unhappiness they were actually projecting onto her and onto the relationship. And guys, this is why I believe so much relationship advice out there misses what's really going on in the relationship dynamic. Because the root problem isn't just be more masculine, hold your masculine frame, be an apex man, create emotional safety, be an emotional leader, just learn her love language. Yes, all those matter, but they're all just addressing symptoms. Because no one's talking about how people show up differently when their own emotional needs are going unmet for long periods of time. When emotional needs go unmet for long periods of time, their nervous system starts activating and it changes the way in how they show up in the relationship. And that's what causes relationships to start deteriorating. So if your wife's come to you and she says that she wants a separation or she's done or she wants a divorce, before you start panicking and starting to change overnight, you first need to ask yourself, what happened to you during the relationship? What were you lacking? What pain were you silently adapting to? And how did that slowly change how she experienced you? And I'm not here to say that that means it's okay to be a victim, but you've got to know yourself and you have to know where your reactions are actually stemming from. Because if you can understand that, you can actually change the dynamic of the relationship at the root rather than just putting band-aids on the symptoms. So if this is your situation right now and you realize that there were some unmet emotional needs that you were going through that may have actually changed the dynamic of the relationship and affected how you started showing up to her, I do invite you to apply to talk to me directly. You can save your relationship, but it's really important to start asking yourself how you were showing up, but more importantly, why were you showing up like that? I really hope this video was helpful, guys. If so, hit a like for me and definitely subscribe to the channel for more videos like it. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and let's really focus on falling back in love.